Welcome back to Keep On Rollin', where today we're looking at a continuation of the journey of the Pearl Jam Pirates, where we'll see them take on the cult of Thraarn. As the Pearl Jam Pirates set off from Dodosia to the last known location of Alta, they were joined by Basil, who pledged fealty to Darien and became the newest member of their crew. On their way, the ship was boarded by two groups of warring Kuo-toa. From them was Pesto, who Darien convinced to become a member of the crew and a friend of the ship. They arrived at Alta's last known location to find nothing there, not even the remnants of an island having once been there when they look underwater. They believe that the island must have moved to another quadrant of the sea, and so a journey through World Port is in order. As they made their way through, a young guard placed a tracking curse on the party, and upon breaking it, they were imprisoned in the World Port's jail cell. There, in that cell, they found Poker, with brand new scars and burn marks all over his body, as well as new demonic horns jutting out from his head. They ask what happened to him, why he disappeared from Dodosia, but he himself doesn't remember. He used his new warlock powers to blow up the cell and join the group back on the ship, where they narrowly escaped the clutches of the world government once again. Entering the eastern quadrant of the sea, the group found Alta floating away from World Port. The island looked to be a shanty town with a rudimentary device paddling the entire thing. They investigated the island's elders and stumbled upon a private meeting, where they discussed that the island was built upon a sleeping kraken, a kraken that's about to wake up. The elders kept this information from their citizens, using a songbook to lull it to sleep, but the songbook was lost within the kraken the last time it was used, and so the party ventured into the maw of the beast, with magical tethers allowing them to be teleported back to the surface at any time. Within the monster, they found Marshal John. Last time they saw him, he entered the service of the Oathbreaker Knight. Now he looks battered, several years older, and he tells the story of having traveled across different realms in service of the Oathbreaker. He fulfilled his contract and was dropped back on Ruined, directly in the path of the Kraken's open maw. Delving deeper inside the Kraken, they found the songbook and a fierce group of depraved criminals that Alta had banished by throwing them into the Kraken, using the book to control the monster from within. The crew stole the book back and tugged on their magical tethers, teleporting out of the Kraken, though the maniac's leader clutched onto Darien, and so, to make sure that he didn't come to the surface with him, Darien stayed behind to fight him one-on-one. Darien narrowly avoided defeat as his tether was reversed and the rest of the party came back to join the battle in the last minute. After the crazies were defeated, Marshal John was officially recruited to the Pearl Jam Pirates. Upon leaving the Kraken, the party spoke to several people around the island about a mural that they had seen within the belly of the beast. It showed that the people of Alta may have originated from a nearby island. The mural depicted the Kraken fleeing an island full of this goopy mass of limbs. Yet, when asking around, only one person has a memory of any island before Alta, naming Fogton. In fact, nobody seems to remember anything beyond the past 3 years, and so the party set off for the nearby island, which, coincidentally, is the direction that the Kraken had been heading. As they geared up to leave, Vice Admiral Zephyr landed on the island in search of the party. The Vice Admirals of the Navy are the third highest tier of warrior, making Zephyr one of the strongest individuals on Ruined. While the party narrowly escaped Alta by crashing Zephyr's ship back into the port, it wasn't without casualties. Pesto suffered a mortal blow and fell victim to the Ceres curse. The Ceres arts are a very specific form of magic unique to Ruined that allows an individual to fully embody an element and take on its form. All Admiral-level Navy officers embody this ability. Zephyr is the physical embodiment of the wind. If someone falls unconscious due to the magical effects of the Ceres arts, they are locked in eternal slumber unless another art user clears the effects. This is called the Ceres curse. Arriving on Fogton, the mural seemed to be inaccurate. It looked to be just a regular island. Trekking around the main village, it seemed like the population was far less than the architecture would suggest. They looked around the town and they didn't really find much. Darien broke into one of the houses and found a naked man with dinner napkins stuck in his ears who screamed about the monster and threw a tome full of magical beasts at Darien. Now, despite the fact that it should be somewhere around noon, night fell, and Poker, the only crew member able to read the infernal language of the tome, scoured over it. In the morning, Poker reported that it's most likely that the island was afflicted by a memory-destroying false hydra. But by the time the discovery was made, it was already too late. The party looked around their body to find new cuts and bruises that weren't there yesterday, and they found evidence of another full party member named Big Man who was nowhere to be seen. From what they could piece together, they must have fought the monster yesterday and simply couldn't remember it because they lost. Darrow found a note in his pocket from Big Man saying the cult and Hingmak. The party plugged their ears and ran in to battle the island-spanning beast, saving as many citizens as they could in the process. After they managed to take it down, the body of the false hydra dissolved into nothing, and they returned to Alta to allow the citizens to settle back on their original home of Fogton. From here, the party ventured forward to a cowboy island known as Hingmak to look into Darrow's note. On this island, a burly man challenged Darrow to a duel at high noon. The party found shelter from the town sheriff to keep the peace until tomorrow's duel, and in exchange, they promised to help him clear out a gang that's been thought to have been making citizens disappear. As Darrow stood before Henry for their duel, he managed to draw first, but as the bullet entered his opponent's head, time slowed down, and Darrow saw his long-lost student Cassius, who back in the day was sent careening through space and time due to his unstable control of chronergy magic, an art which Darrow taught him. This is the act that caused Darrow's exile from his home island of Nereus, given that chronergy magic is wildly illegal. Cassius appeared and he looked like he absorbed the opponent's life energy before time resumed. Only Darrow experienced that time slowdown, so he avoided killing anyone else for the time being for fear of summoning Cassius, but otherwise he kept this experience to himself. Later on, the party rode out with the sheriff to the Dust Devil's hideout, and upon interrogating them, they found out that they were hostages of a cult who gave them an ultimatum: capture the citizens of Hingmak for them one by one, or they'll just take them all. Hearing this, the party allowed themselves to be captured to follow the cult back to their base and stop the kidnappings. While aboard the ship, Darien met Mugsy, a cultist who wasn't sure of his place in the grand scheme of things, and he convinced them to turn against the cult, but not before he revealed that the cult's ultimate goal was to revive Thraarn. Arriving on Rato, the cultists' home base, the party descended into the lair, and standing before the party was Cassius and the decrepit, empty body of Thraarn. Cassius ripped into Darrow, inviting him to tell the rest of the party how he was responsible for Cassius's current state of affairs, having been sent flying through uncontrollable amounts of time and space. Cassius has seen nearly every corner of the otherworldly realms, so how could he possibly resist when Thraarn promised he could give Cassius the power to control his magic so he could decide to stay in one place in time and space, in exchange for giving Thraarn back the soul to his body. The party fought valiantly to stop him, but they simply weren't strong enough, and Cassius was granted his freedom by going back in time to take Darrow's dead daughter at the exact moment of her death and bring her back to the present to act as the final sacrifice required to bring Thraarn back to life. Cassius is in control and Thraarn has been revived in his old body. What could possibly happen next? This section was probably my favorite to play through, especially since it's the only section where we managed to play weekly with no breaks. It's where we as a group got really in our stride and my storytelling started to improve. It's also around here where I began planning more for the future, so you'll see another improvement for the storytelling from here on. Join us next time where we'll speak more about the journey of the Pearl Jam Pirates.